Okay, so a bit of a hot take. You've already lived the 12 signs. Like, even if you don't know it, it's because the archetypes themselves are a part of our lived experiences. Our lives are a representation of the embodiment of these signs. Like, have you ever felt overwhelmed by learning astrology? Like, you've gathered so much information, you've got it all there, and you still lack that sense of confidence to apply it in a way that feels truly like impactful. Like, you can understand it on a cerebral level. The reason why this is the case is because the way that we've been learning up until now has been because we're doing it through remembrance. This is how we've been taught. But now we're ready to step into reconnecting with it on an emotional level. So this is what I want to share with you in this video today. I want to walk you through a method that I use to help my students essentially reconnect with astrology in a way that feels like it's home. So we're stepping away from this memorization experience and we're moving into what it feels like to have lived it. Okay, so I want to show you how you've already experienced these archetypes in your daily life. Let's take the sign Aries, right? Aries representing the principle of instinct. Think of a time where you noticed yourself just responding to a situation without even thinking. You just needed to act. This was a moment that you were just present with yourself, present with the moment, and then you responded to the situation without even thinking, and you just acted. That's an Aries experience. Let's take the Virgo archetype. I'm sure at some point within your life, you've had to untangle a complicated situation or a scenario, and you needed to apply this very linear process of clearing out and ordering and making things cleaner and easier to understand, and dislocating things so that they could then be individualized, and then from there you could have the pattern become ordered. This is your Virgo moment. The ability to be able to just sort something out in a way that was clearer, that was more calmer through the clearing and ordered place. Let's take the Cancer archetype. Perfect example of a Cancerian experience that you've had is you noticed when you were just doing whatever you were doing, maybe you were in a social situation or you were at work or driving the car, everything was cool, and then all of a sudden there was this moment of threat. Like, you felt uneasy, like your safety was now a concern. At some point within your life, you've had that moment where you've gone from feeling regulated to here's a threat, or here's a scenario that doesn't make me feel safe. That's your Cancerian moment. And so we already carry these archetypal stories within us. They're present and we're living them, regardless of whether we actually have those planets in our chart or not. So it's embodied in us. Let me see if I can take it one step further for us, right? Let's have a look at, say, the Aquarius archetype and show you how we can go even deeper. So the Aquarius archetype itself has an underlying principle. This principle is decentralization, okay? Something that is breaking apart. Now, you must understand that this principle itself is not something that is It's not bound to the human experience, is independent of us. We as human beings are experiencing an archetype through us. And so therefore, when we have an Aquarius experience, sometimes it can show up like this. Like, let's say you know somebody, or you've had this experience yourself where you've needed to say something, right, in a family situation that you knew if you shared would break apart the consensus connection that everybody has. I'm sure some of you are very much like that person that will need to say something like point out the elephant in the room. And because you're holding that space, you know that you're outside of the situation. When you say that, it's going to break it apart. Now, that's an Aquarius moment because you're bringing something new to an order and destabilizing it. As you destabilize it, you also break it apart. It fractures. The order is no longer the same as what it was. Now, in this situation, you might have actually felt exiled, right? You might have had to split off because whatever it is that you shared has created a rebellion of some sort, right? Just kind of thinking about how this happened in the past with many people I've known. But the idea here is that decentralization breaks things apart. The Aquarius archetype as a principle is embodied in those types of experiences. You know somebody, seen somebody, or have had that yourself, where you've needed to be the person breaking things apart in order to decentralize it, to bring something to the surface that needed to be brought to the surface. And it changed the dynamic, it changed the landscape. So the reason why we, I think, struggle with the astrology and the way that we learn it is because we are people who learn astrology by coming into the constellations. Okay? We look up at the sky and our heads and our attention and our awareness is all there. And it's interesting because Aquarius does rule the sky, right? Astrology is an Aquarius theme and it's about the sky. So of course we would naturally disembody ourselves into the sky and be living in that detached space. The problem is that we're learning it for self-awareness. We're learning it for self-understanding. And this next step about reconnecting and becoming re-embodied is the ability to take the cosmos and its wisdom and reconnect with it here on Earth through the body and live and become aware of our lived experiences and see the astrology present within us. So one of the cool things about experiencing the essence of the archetype is that you can literally be able to start recognizing the patterns within everyday life. Like you can start, watching a film, for instance, and see an archetype playing out through a main character. And you can see, say, like in a political movement, an archetype expressing itself, or a scenario or situation where a friend is telling you a story and you can hear the archetypes playing through their experience. Now, what you're doing over here is you're recognizing the pattern, but you're not staying there and just saying, that's Aquarius. You're actually coming into a sort of feeling that pattern. And you bring that energy back to yourself and you start to then relate to it in a way in which you have experienced that pattern. So it doesn't just become like, oh, that's Aquarius. It becomes, I have a personal relationship to the sensation and feeling of what this person was going through. Like, let's say you were watching a film and you saw somebody that needed to say a really important thing, that the consequence of that thing that they were going to say would decentralize the group. And now when you're watching it, you're not just going like, oh, that's Aquarius. You're actually feeling, oh, I've been in that situation before where I've had to say something that would be the truth, but it would break something apart. And you can empathize. And all of a sudden now you have a relationship to the archetypes in a way that's not just intellectual out there, but actually through deep human connection. And this is what's so empowering about this process. It is a synthesis between the wisdom of the archetypes and the patterns that live out there and in between us, and your immediate and deep relationship to it. It's not just about remembering anymore, it's about knowing. So what you can do over the next 2 days or so is try it out, have a lived experience. Choose an archetype. I'm going to say, go with the Cancer archetype. And just over the next couple of days, just notice where safety exists. Notice it in yourself. Notice where safety ends for you, where your comfort zones are. Notice where those safety mechanisms play out for other people and what that means to them and feels to them. But without any need to analyze it, just to notice and pay attention and to witness. Because what you're doing here is you're starting to reconnect with the pattern, bring it to your attention, and be able to then integrate this experience by bringing it back to yourself and knowing, you know what, I don't just remember the Cancer energy, oh, it means safety, etc. It means safety, security. It's no, I feel what safety is, right? I experience what security is. I felt it for myself. And so now it doesn't become just a word in your head, it becomes something that actually belongs to you. So that's the thing, guys. Once you make a connection to these archetypes and you've made it your own because you've connected to what is the living essence, then you're no longer chasing these definitions anymore. And that's the thing. You can apply this to all of the astrological teachings, like transits, aspects. You can do this to planetary pairs. I mean, even yods, right? Finger of God aspects, you can apply lived experiences to understand these aspects. And the reason why we can do it is because it's real. You've lived these experiences. It's viscerally here. You've gone through the senses. And it's something, like I said, that you've lived. And this is actually what we do in the immersion. This is how I teach it, right? Layer for layer, being able to actually awaken this knowledge within you. And that's, if you resonate with that type of way of learning, it's because you have already got these archetypes within you. I'm just helping you remember that you have them. So some exciting things that are happening on Sunday. So I'm going to share this on the screen right now with you guys. So I'm going to have a live Q&A on Sunday. And on my YouTube channel, okay, you're going to see that we have it already hosted. What you need to do is just go there and make sure that you set your reminder so that you can join live. All right. And this is going to be a way of, I really want you to show you how to experience this way of learning for yourself. So on Sunday, that's in 2 days' time, I'm going to have a live stream, and it's going to be at 5 o'clock Central European time. And like I said, if you go to YouTube itself and see the scheduled live stream, it will convert to the time zone for you automatically, okay? But don't miss out. Make sure you set there for this, and you can join live, and I'm going to be interacting with you, asking questions, and it's going to be loads and loads of fun. So I'm definitely excited for that, and I hope to see you guys over there. So until Sunday, have an amazing 2 days. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.